Hey, what's going on, everybody, man? It's your boy D Black, man. As you can see, this was supposed to be an unboxing, but I realized, like, FedEx came, I got too hyped. I started opening the shit up, you know what I'm saying? And Sam Ash, they do that nice seal, so, you know what I'm saying? I done already cracked the seal, but I stopped myself so I can go ahead and let y'all see what I scooped up. So we'll go ahead and go in here real quick since I just couldn't contain myself. Let's go and see what I got up in here. I went on and copped that Presonus Atom. I've recently switched to Studioone. Man, let me just say this, man. Studioone is no joke, man. Like, what's we got up in here? Again, shout out to Sam Ash. They was the only ones that had these in stock, man. Like, I usually shop at Sweetwater. Shout out to them. You know, my man Ryan, man, he be holding it down. But I had to jump ship this one purchase, man, cause they had it in stock and I needed it for the weekend so I could mess around with it. Here it is. And I went on and copped that FaderPort 16. It's about to be sick. And the crazy thing is I had that Mackie, not the Mackie, but the Behringer X-Touch with the extender. I was rocking with that for a while. That works real well with Logic. But I noticed, man, as soon as I started messing with Studioone, man, it's just not, you gotta do too much, man. It just doesn't connect the way that it did with Logic. And to me, for as much as I paid for it, man, that thing should be working with every DAW the way it does with Logic. So I'm gonna go ahead and just jump to the scene. We're not gonna be sitting here opening stuff up. Y'all done seen packaged material and all that stuff on other people's videos, so I'm not even gonna go there. We just gonna jump right to it. I'm gonna set everything up, do the firmware updates, install whatever software and have it set up for y'all. That way we gonna jump back in and I'm gonna just go ahead and start messing with it. All right, so got everything updated, hooked up, Atom, FaderPort 16. So the way I like to do it, when I order something and I know I got about 2 to 3 days before it gets to the house, I go on the website and I download all the drivers, the software updates, anything that's required to run whatever hardware that I have. So for example, I went to Presonus, the website, downloaded what I needed to download. That way, once I unbox everything, plug it up, all I need to do is firmware updates, and then you'll be ready to go. I'll show you just a couple quick things that I like about using Presonus so far, the Studioone. And again, I just got the Atom. All of this stuff that I'm doing now, these couple things I learned on YouTube. Again, I took 2-3 days while this stuff I was waiting for it to get delivered. And I watched a couple YouTube videos that y'all are making out there, just explaining how to use the Atom, what features and stuff that it has, and along with Studioone. I've been a 10-year Logic user, and I just switched to Studioone literally like 2 weeks ago. So like I'm new to this, and I've been using MPCs, all of that other stuff, but I've just been hearing a lot of good reviews about Studioone, and I downloaded the 3-day, I don't know, it was like a 14-day trial or something like that. By the third day, man, I just went on and copped it. Just from what I was seeing, the features that you guys were showing online, like a lot of YouTube videos that people were posting, and I was like, man, I'm sold, man. So it's definitely an adjustment period. But the good thing is going from Logic to Studioone is like seamless. Like it doesn't seem like it's a big learning curve at all, man. It's like I'm flowing right into it. So what I'm going to do is just go over like the little macros and how you can basically set up macros. As you can see on here on the Atom control, you can set up the first 8 pads and program them to do whatever it is that you want them to do, whether that's macros or quick keys, keyboard shortcuts, all that. You can actually program them on the Atom, so it makes it quicker when you're programming, making some drum loops or whatever it is you're doing on here. You switch to the song setup mode, bam, and you can hit one of these pads and it'll do some functions for you. So I'll show you that real quick. I'm gonna just put together a quick drum pattern That way you guys can kind of see what's going on here. So I already got one loaded up. So let's see. All right, we'll go with that. Turn my click on. So we got a quick little pattern going, you know what I'm saying? So I'll go ahead, like, throw some hats in there just real quick. All right, we're just gonna make something up. Little vocal or something in there. All right, just throw that in just for the sake of adding up sounds, because I want to show you one of the macros that I made that makes tracking this region out individually way easier. So we'll just go ahead and record that. Throw that little vocal stab in there. So we got that in there. Obviously, I could just keep adding more and more sounds, but the point of what I'm trying to get at here is to show you, like, normally, if I wanted to start tracking this out or separate these sounds that's in this one region here in this loop, if I wanted to separate those into their own MIDI tracks, like, I would have to kind of go through a process. Or if I wanted to convert those individual sounds into wave files, individual wave tracks, it would take a little bit of time. Those that know, that use other programs, I mean, if, like, say you're using Pro Tools, you have to actually record the sound for that loop length. Logic makes it a little easier. You can right click, bounce, and it'll bounce it out. But when you have them all in one region, how to make that easy. So Studioone has this function called explode pitches to tracks, and I put that on one of my Atom pads. So when I go into song setup, I have that programmed for this first green pad right here. So what that's going to do, once I hit this pad, it's going to break all of those individual notes, or the kick, the snare, and all that, into their own MIDI track just by one button. Watch this. Done. So you can see right here, these are all their own separate MIDI tracks. Now I can, duplicate that like so, move it over, all that good stuff. Do edit, add other things into those sections. I can do whatever it is I want to do. Now, let me go ahead and undo this. So we're back to this, right? Now, if when I program that and I'm like, all right, I know that this is what I want, I'm cool with that. I don't really need to break that into individual MIDI tracks to do any editing. If you want to just go ahead and come get these on their own wave, to convert them to waves and put them on their own tracks, I made another button here, and it's called it's a macro. So I named it MIDI track out bounces. So once I hit this gray button, it's going to convert them all to their own individual MIDI tracks and then convert them into their own audio tracks just by one button. Watch this. done. So as you can see here, it turned them into MIDI tracks, and then it went on and converted them into audio tracks. That's simple. So now again, I can go and duplicate that across. Let's see here. I can go ahead and duplicate that across and start actually, arranging my song and doing whatever it is I need to do. So that's one of the dope things. Again, I'm a beginner with Presonus Studioone, so I'm not even touching the surface on what this thing could do. I've been seeing a lot of other videos where people are doing all kinds of cool stuff with this program, so I'm anxious to get into it. I'll be posting more stuff on kind of like my journey with this thing, and yeah, man, if you got Studioone, man, I would definitely rock with the add-on, man. This thing is dope. Like, you can show and hide your instrument just by pushing a button on here, bring it up. You can edit all your stuff and do what it is you need to do inside of Impact, or you can, do that with battery. Anything that you're using, you can easily pull that up, man. So it's not like this only works for Presonus Studioone. I mean, this thing will pull up the plugins. So look, I got battery on one of these. So let me see. See, battery 4 comes up. It's quick. So I mean, like I said, man, this thing is dope, man. Like, if you have, I would look at this as Presonus's version of like Machine, man. Like Studioone's version of Machine. This thing pretty much controls a lot of functions. I mean, you can browse on this thing, go into the browser, pick whatever VSTs or audio units that you're going to use. I mean, you can do so much in this small form factor, man. And I haven't really even got into the FaderPort yet. It's just here. And the dope thing about this is it works very good with Logic as well. So I used to have, for those that know, I had the Behringer X-Touch, which is dope for Logic, man. The X-Touch is on point with Logic. I feel it works with Logic the best out of all the DAWs. But what happened is when I switched to Studioone, it was just like real buggy. You got to do all this extra programming, and I don't have time for that. So I looked into the FaderPort, and the dope thing is Presonus has videos of actually using the FaderPort with Logic. So I can go back to Logic if I want to, and this will still work just as well. And when I'm in Studioone, it works flawless too, because it's made particularly for Studioone. But again, it works with Logic just as good as my X-Touch did. So that's why I went on, sold the X-Touch, and went and copped this. Couple things about this, like, it's dope, don't get me wrong, but they could have put some kind of like rubber on the bottom, because I mean it moves around on my desk like way too easy. You know what I mean? Like, this is I don't know about that. But other than that, I mean, it's cool. I can see the scribble strips. The only other thing too is the X-Touch has USB ports in the back, so it's kind of like a hub for you. This one don't. I mean, I have a USB plug, a hub. It really doesn't matter, but that's just a couple things, and that's nitpicking, man. Other than that, this thing is sleek. It's pretty dope, and I like the fact that I can, anything I'm working on, whether if I'm working on the FaderPort, I got transport control here. If I'm working on the Atom, I got transport control here, and if I'm playing keys on my Native Instruments keyboard, I obviously have transport controls on here as well. So that's how I like to work. I like to work seamlessly. Whatever it is I'm using, I want to have transport control and functionality over all of my instruments. Now I can, mute stuff. So while I'm making beats, sometimes I like to mute things to give me an idea how I want to arrange the track. I can easily do that right here on the console. I can do my mutes, solos. I can program my big thing with anybody that's in the box user. If you're trying to program automation, it's a little tough doing it with the mouse. It's a lot easier to do automation rides with the fader. So that's another reason why I like to always have a control surface that has motorized faders for me to go ahead and program that automation to whatever it is that I'm doing. So again, once I get more into this stuff, I'll put some more videos up, let y'all know how my progress is, and yeah. Oh, also, go ahead and check out my 2 instrumental projects I got out now. Link will be in the description of those projects. But yeah, man, I'm gonna just keep y'all posted on the journey of being a new Studioone user. Like it, subscribe, and yeah, till next time.